Hey, I don't know who's here yet. Wow, something just fell. Um, hey, welcome. Hey, just waiting for somebody to come on. So excited. I'm back in Philly. Let me just get the little mise en scène together. It's Mike from Real Black. It's 3 in the afternoon in Philly time. And um, hey, what it's 3 o'clock here. What area code where you guys at? This is a different camera. Waiting on a new camera. I'm using the webcam for the computer. So usually I don't like to be low. I like to have it more eye level, but we'll see how it goes. Hey, JDW. Just back. This is the first time. Well, thank you. First off, thank everyone. Thank everybody who's watching, everybody who's subscribed. We this Monday we crossed the 250,000 subscriber mark. So woohoo! Happy for that. And as humble as I like to be, I think it's a great thing. You guys keep me humble because despite the fact that we have 250,000 subscribers, our average video the first day gets maybe 200 or 300 views. So that keeps me humble. It makes me aware that there's a lot of Black folks out there, a lot of people that over the years have enjoyed our content, but it also reminds me that we're not trying to crowd please, and that's something I always try to remind everybody that works with us, that we're on our own path, and that ultimately what connects us all is this desire to see ourselves in a positive light, and not try to make the channel a place where it's not necessarily supplying the antidote, but it's sort of a safe space where you can feel comfortable inside your skin, being Black, taking pride in our culture without all the negativity that always comes. There's always like a little backhanded way that our culture, our society likes to play us. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What's good? What's going on? Oh yeah, Don, thank you. Oh, Thaddeus, hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm back from Colombia, and it was a big adjustment. Not only being adjustment back to sea level. Thaddeus lives in Philly, as he can attest. Philly is a tough city. You can it's tough to manifest things. You can have the biggest, brightest attitude, but there's a gravity here. Chris Rock, a lot of low expectation having motherfuckers. So I always have to go back to the book Think and Grow Rich, which is well, not map out your plan, like plan your work and then work your plan, but more like just keep. Sometimes you have to keep your strongest desires, your biggest passions, very, very close to your heart, and you have to be very careful who you share them with. Unfortunately, with social media, it's like if you too well, if the reality is in nature, people will make up their own stories regardless. So I've always found it more beneficial for me to speak for myself and tell people how I feel and what's going on. But when you have you made a decision that you want to do something really big, and you don't have the money just pay people to shut up and do what you say, you have to make yourself vulnerable. So the last couple weeks were sort of bring me back down to earth, and then you have to sort of click that switch in your brain. We're so 250 was great on Monday to get to that milestone, and it's definitely some mathematics I can take with me when I go to pitch the bigger ideas, or try to corral more people into watching. But I just feel like what we're doing is unique, and that, I mean, as everyone watching is unique. We all have stories that we want to share and tell, but for whatever reason, what we're doing on this channel, it's not being duplicated, and it's frustrating on one level. But then at the same time, you see, wow, it's a wide open lane right now. I go see a lot of these movies, and there's way more content than ever existed. that is reflective of Black experiences. Way more talent that can get movies made, but I'm still not satisfied. So, just trying to be the change we want to see. Hey, honey baby, thank you. And J. Jermaine, Second Street, East Dad. So I just talked to Charles. I'm gonna go through everybody's name. I think everybody should be acknowledged, but and hopefully you can hear me okay. This is a different setup than usual. This nothing. It's not even hooked up. So I just talked to Charles. He's under the weather still, trying to get his strength. But he says he's gonna jump on the chat in a minute. So I don't know if he's there yet, but we're open to questions. So uh, and that without that being said, I'll go through everything. Crowdfunding presentation. If it's Black, unfortunately, I don't have the radio show anymore. But we always had people that were crowdfunding call into the radio. I have. If there's a simple way to do it, and it's an idea I believe in, then I'm always down to support other filmmakers. But please make sure you have your momentum going, because it is a public space in the sense where I don't charge money for appearances. It's really stuff that I think has got to be important or beneficial. So anybody can have a business card, anybody can have a crowd fund. I'm not here to diminish your idea, but if you don't come correct, it leaves me vulnerable for every other person that has an idea to make money. And in a way, being on the channel is an endorsement. So and everything that is on the channel is curated. So DM me, hit me, let me know what you're doing. Twitter's the best way, Instagram's the best way to just tag me on something, and then I'm always going to retweet somebody who tags me if they're trying to make Black film, as long as it's not Big Booty Butt Delivery Volume 2. You can trust that Real Black is here for you. Hey, Chocolate and Everything. I like the name. I might steal that for something. No, I won't steal your name, but Chocolate and Everything says a lot. What's the Twitter? At Real Black. Everything is at Real Black. I got in on early. We have some copycats and duplicates, but strictly REELBLACK is all my social media handles that I care about. I mean, there might be some weird, like Twitch or something. A lot of things I'd never jumped on, but Instagram and Twitter, I'm at Real Black. I'm not on Facebook any longer, and I'm drinking some green tea. Well, we're trying to get to Chocolate and Everything. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers. It's just trying to keep the channel healthy. In some ways, it's good to be sort of a undercover because there's a lot of things. It's archival, so there's a lot of things that we clearly know. I didn't create them, and they're subject to copyright. We do our due diligence to protect ourselves, but we had a video go viral on Instagram this week, and then it immediately got us a copyright strike. It had been up for over a year, but the fact that somebody else discovered it and retweeted it on a platform that gets more shares, it's good for us, but then it's also bad because the person didn't reach out to us. They just put the kibosh on the Bill Cosby clip. So the only way you can see that is on the Tony Brown website. There's nothing I can do about it. And unfortunately, until I talk to somebody at Tony Brown, any other clips that we have from Tony Brown are not available to be viewed right now. So my apologies to Mr. Tony Brown. Happy 85th birthday. He's a legend in the business. We only shared the video with the endorsement of his website. We encourage people to watch the full episode on his channel, and no disrespect, and hopefully our karma's still good on that one. Just Fall, thank you, DJ Obsession. Yeah, I hope everybody subscribes. We actually crossed 250,000 on Monday, and then we're up to 200, and we added 2 more thousand subscribers in the last 2 days. So I mean, inevitably we're going to get to 1 million, but I'd like us to get there sooner. I really get a sense just from people's comments that when they see videos on the channel, they're discovering things, they're learning things, and it's a very unique space. And if everybody's sort of working out the same questions, how do we empower ourselves? What was it like in the past? A lot of the initial comments with the Dick Gregory just made me realize how lucky I was to be raised by grandparents who lived into their 80s and 90s. So many people today don't have elders around them. And I think that subconsciously makes you buy into a belief system that we're not here to last. And the reality is that we've been here forever. And it's our genetic pool, it's our creativity that keeps a lot of things going. So I just want people to understand that that's the perspective that I have in terms of when I say real black. It's about how do you build continuity, how do you empower, how do you break cycles, and a lot of that is not buying into the bullshit that's there to sell media. It's really connecting to your culture, connecting to your past, realizing how much you've done to survive, how much we've all had to go through in order just to exist in this culture and this society on this planet. So that's what we want to glorify and not be aspirational but inspirational. That's my stump speech. Um, thank you, DJ Obsession. Well, tell people about DJ Obsession so that we know more. I'll follow you on Twitter. What's DJ? If you have Twitter, if you have a Instagram or Twitter handle, put it in the comment, and I'll be sure to go back and follow you. That's how we're building community. There's only 33 people here. I'm not making a huge commitment. So if you're on Instagram or Twitter, I'm not following you. Please let me know what your Instagram or Twitter handle is, and then I'll make sure that I follow you as soon as we get off the chat. Naj sings, I love what you're doing. Thank you. I mean, love is the answer, right? I mean, I keep going. Like a lot of people, thankfully, one of the outlets that's very amenable to what we're doing is the Oprah Winfrey channel. So a lot of the Oprah Winfrey things, they don't create a strike against the account. They just take all the money from the views. So I think Oprah definitely, the fact that we put up some old Oprah shows in last month, it's been good for the channel. But the one that's getting a lot of attention right now is the Dave Chappelle Oprah interview. Apparently, the clip, why do people wear a dress, has been online on YouTube for decades, but the whole episode wasn't. And it's very interesting to read people's comments in retrospect. But when you go through things, you realize it's really love it's like you have to keep you have to circulate. You just can't keep everything to yourself. So I try to share as much as I can. But the vitamin love is appreciated there. Yeah, it feels good, but there's so much more work to do. It's not even funny. Just the apartment getting clean is going to be a task, but we're in it doing it. Yeah, the Chappelle interview is great, and then again, I just to caution people, we're not your friendly neighborhood bootleg operation. We're really trying to create and cultivate a space where people can discover things. So, like, if we put one thing up and you say, "Oh, well, where's part two?" or "Do you have this?" I'll listen to it, but chances are I'm going to delete that comment because I just don't want that energy making people lazy. It's what I like about YouTube and social media, internet, is it connects everybody instantly. What I don't like is people still gravitate to their lazy nature, and they lose their curiosity. Like if I say, "Here's Donny Hathaway's third album," don't ask for, "Well, where's 1, 2, and 3?" Go find 1, 2, and 3. Either buy it or go find it on Spotify. I can't, that's not the job. It's really to expose people. And what's interesting about Extension of a Man, for whatever reason, as of today, it's not on Spotify or any of the streaming services. So we consider it out of print, and I felt like it was a need to share it. Jane Kennedy. Oh, Jane Kennedy. I'm glad you mentioned that. All right. So we're in the vibe now. I had something on that. I'll give you my internet finds. So I said hashtag Jane Kennedy week, and then my intention was I'm going to put up all these videos within 7 days. But then I said, well, wait a second. People discover this stuff whenever they want, so I could take forever as long as I use the hashtag Jane Kennedy week. People will associate it, and then they can watch it within their own time. It's not like it's channel 48. Um, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling all right. Ebbs and flows. I'm not, like I was saying earlier. Well, anyway, this is the Jane Kennedy. So we're doing Jane Kennedy week. So I got this is a signed copy of her workout soundtrack. We already had the workout video up, but these show up a lot on eBay. Very affordable. I don't know who Bob is. I'm sure he was very lucky to meet Jane Kennedy. I would love to meet Jane Kennedy one day. Still somebody I have a fondness for. So, yeah. Well, that's not all. Jane Kennedy week. So that's not. I haven't digitized that, but I also um, this Jane Kennedy. This is the inset. So let me see. Am I doing it right? Where is she? Do you see her? It says Jane Kennedy. There she is. Jane Kennedy. So she was on this record. They did two of them, apparently. I don't know what they were doing. And Muhammad Ali next to Frank Sinatra. So this is, I think somebody else has this up, but there's two covers, got a front and a back. So Muhammad Ali fights Mr. Tooth Decay. And this was a promo record, $3, that back in the 70s, like 77, 78, Howard Cosell's on here. Dentists would sell it to their kids. Like you go get your teeth cleaned, and then they say, hey, you want to buy a copy of the Muhammad Ali, make sure you brush your teeth every day record. So Jane Kennedy's on there. So I'll be part of Jane Kennedy week. And it's weird. I have a copy sealed that I actually bought from a dentist on eBay like 15 years ago. He was selling like a stack of them, and he had a sealed copy, and I got it. They go for a lot sealed, but I couldn't. I went everywhere looking for it. I moved it, so I had to reacquire it. This one's a little beat up, but for YouTube purposes, we'll get to hear that in the next few weeks. I do not collect sneakers. I'm not even Cameron. I'm such a nerd. I'm very self-conscious about my footwear and fashion and things like that. I used to get harassed. Like haircuts and sneakers are not things I'm comfortable with to this day. But I think I like my own sense of style, and I try to keep that kind of stuff simple and tasteful. But I don't freak out. Like, a pair of Jordans is enough. I have like 3 pairs of sneakers right now. Growing our food. We had somebody on the radio about, who was talking about they were building a food bank in the city in Philly. So we've done some nutrition. I guess we should do more, especially in light of the Nipsey Hussle, Dr. Sebi conversations that are being had a lot right now. And I have no opinion on either. Not stepped away from it. I mean, I just don't know. I never met Nipsey Hussle. I don't want to capitalize on his tragic passing by saying I know anything beyond that. I think it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's reflective of the way we are, and something we need to change about ourselves. But that's human nature, So you can't. There's always gonna be haters, So I don't know what that guy was on. What occurred that created that violent reaction? But it's a sad day. Anybody loses their father. It's a sad day. Any black man is killed. It's a sad day. Any black woman is killed. So, but I shot away from it in the sense that I just feel like it's recycling. We've had 3 major not major rapper, but major news stories involving rappers being killed or arrested this year, and I think it feeds into a narrative that I think is destructive for people that are fans of that. You know, that we're not supposed to die a natural death, and that no matter how much we try to do for others, ultimately, um, you know, our fate is already sealed, and that kind of bullshit. You know, so um, you know, I'm here to tell you, you know, if you do good things, people will remember you, and if you make great art, it lasts forever. And whatever you do, even if it's you drive your kid to school and on the way you stop at McDonald's, that's something that your kid is going to remember for a long time after you're gone. So you just have to try and do as much good for people and help others as you can every day. But the whole fame thing is like nuts to me, and how much attention went to that versus other things is always boggles my mind, you know. But it, you know, made me look into it, and I think when you have that kind of energy, you wanna have it symbolize some positive things and not gravitate on what the media was doing with it, which is, you know, niggas ain't shit. You know, this guy was good. It's like, I don't know, I wasn't there, but I know not to be there. That's the other thing. When I come back to Philly, I had to take a week. I had to take 3 days off from posting because I was just tired and just sheer exhaustion. Customs, my fucking god. It's bad enough that you gotta travel, you know, 10 hours, sitting in airports for 3 hours, waiting for flights, and then risking falling asleep and missing the boarding, which happened to me when I was in California. I fell asleep and missed the whole fucking boarding. Um, so travel's bad enough. I mean, I salute any entertainer who has to travel. Um, but the customs, my God, just the line, and there's no way around it, you know. And so by the time you get home, it's just exhausting. And then reality hits. I got to help my mom with like random shit. You know, I come, hey, how's it going? She's like, can you help me make some country time lemonade? And I'm like, oh, so we're back here again. I'm back. I'm out. I'm back in the quote unquote real world, my reality. So that's all right. I was at the mountaintop. It's going to take a little while to climb back up it again, but um, help one another. I have a mom. Oh, you have a mom? You wish everyone has a mother. What happened? Chocolate and everything. Your mom passed away early, or you never knew your mom? You know, I'm sure there's somebody out there. You go to hang out on the corner, somebody will be your mom. The police killed your mom, your brother, and your dad. Oh, it's so sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. I've nothing. I have nothing smart to say on that. I'm very sorry that you had to have that experience in life, but um, you know, there's nothing I can say. Um, yeah, I'm very lucky. You know, she's 73. We went to Little last night, and it was fun. It was the first time since I got back that I got to spend the whole day with her. We went, you know, just random, basic black people shit, black people Philadelphia shit. She had to get her driver's license replaced, so we went out. Ended up at Golden Corral. Now, if you want to see a lot of black people, obese old black people look like me, take Golden Corral at 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. And I don't know if Mike Pender's watching. I scoped it out with Mike Pender. They opened this new, it's like a buffet for people who don't know, Golden Corral. Um, it's sort of like old country buffet, but they make no effort to make you feel like you're having like a home cooked meal or anything. Uh, no, there's more. We've been off the radio for a year, almost a year since we did our last broadcast on WURD in Philadelphia. So Golden Corral. I didn't know anything about Golden Corral. I saw commercials, and I think when I'm on the turnpike, I see like billboards, Golden Corral. So they opened one near us in the space that used to be Old Country Buffet and like 18 other places in Cheltenham. So I wanted to go, and when I went with Mike on Sunday, it was not the best experience. Um, food was, and coming back from Colombia, it was not good food. I knew the food was not good, like food service, but it wasn't a good experience because it was packed, and then um, folks were not super attentive to us, and then the food. The thing about all buffets is they never make it so good that you really want to eat more. They make it so that you feel like a taste is enough. Like they don't really want to make the plates really small, and they don't want you going back. So after the first round, there really wasn't much I wanted. I felt like everything was like extra salty, and I said, "This is just killing me." And but I wanted the dessert, and I said, "Well, Mike, let's stick around, go get some dessert." So of course the ice cream machine was broken, right? So there's a long line. This brother's sitting there scooping ice cream out. You can't scoop it yourself. You got to get the guy to scoop it, and the line is like 6 deep. So I was like, no, I don't want that. So I love chocolate. Anybody knows me knows I love chocolate. So they had no chocolate desserts, but the woman was back there cutting up this key lime pie, and I could see this is where it doesn't pay to be too smart or too observant. I could see behind her there was like a whole rack of like chocolate cake behind her. So I said, "Hey sister, when are you gonna cut up that chocolate cake?" She's like, "I'm not." I'm like, "What?" It's like, I'm not cutting up no chocolate cake. I said, "Did I hurt you? Do I look like somebody that just cheated on you or something? What did I do so wrong where in a buffet I can't get you to turn around and just hook me up with some chocolate cake?" So I was through with Golden Corral. I was like, F Golden Corral, never going back. You're trying to kill our people. It's just diabetes and a big box diabetes, what you should call it. So, but then I was out with my mom yesterday, and we had a choice. There weren't very many choices, so we ended up at Golden Corral. And yesterday was good. We went for dinner. They had steak, they had shrimp. She even had Brussels sprouts. She was very engaged with the food, and the ice cream machine worked, and they had plenty of chocolate cake. I actually took an extra cupcake home and ate it last night. So, I'm sometimey with my black people. Um, Meatless day. I'm just my brain is just jacked up. I didn't until I traveled. I didn't realize how big I was. Like in Philly, I'm considered normal size. Anywhere else, it's like obesity. So that's something I need to deal with if I intend to be here 10 years from now. But the biggest thing for me now is just getting out of the zip code. Like if you look up my zip code, there's a map how many shootings there are. My zip code is like number 1 or number 2. I'm near Nicetown, so they're shooting. And summer's coming. There's gonna be some shooting. Trust me. So I'm outside of the demographic of being shot or arrested. Thank you. But there aren't very many 60, 70-year-old black men in my zip code that aren't missing a toe or walking around on one leg just because the food around here is just so bad. It's not a food desert, but it's just there's no effort made to just be humane. It's just McDonald's, and then the McDonald's is low grade. And soda's always on the floor. It's like it's not a day at McDonald's unless they got soda in the floor as soon as you walk in, and people talking and stuff. So it's just um, something I want to get away from if possible. Not to say, and I'm sure the people watching among the 27, 28 that are in the hood, they understand the situation, but I would assume if you're watching me this long that you understand ignorance as well. And we have to love our people, but at the same time, some of what is being passed off specifically to us, marketed to us, is designed to kill us. And I don't make any bones about it. I'm part of it too. I love Wendy's. I love cheesesteaks. I love all that stuff, but I'm also not, like if somebody said like, you about to have a heart attack, I'd be like, well, I've been eating cheesesteaks all my life. Walked through soda at 7-Eleven. Well, it was horrible yesterday. It's like they dared me to buy a freaking McDouble the other day because as soon as I walked in, they had a big, it must have been like a medium size orange soda all over the floor. And then nobody's trying to clean it up. And then to the right, the spill sign is over there. Like somebody else hours before it spilled something, and they just put like a little cone there with the yellow don't slip. And I'm just like, do I need to spend my money here? You know, and coming back from Colombia, the McDonald's, everybody's like smiling and handing you shit and just happy. And, you know, it's like it's really like the 70s version McDonald's experience that we had, they still have elsewhere where it's like, wow, it's a big treat to go and eat at McDonald's. This is like, nobody wants to work there. Nobody wants to serve you behind the counter. There's trash everywhere. I'm like, well, if they have trash on the floor, what are they doing behind where I can't see where they're making my food? I said, never mind. Um, I could not care less about McDonald's. I don't need to be eating there at all. And it's just a convenience thing. Um, really no fast food at this point. I think they know they're ignorant. I think if you Google Yelp review for McDonald's at Broad and Allegheny, it tells you the whole story. So, you know, I shouldn't be in there. Like it's sort of like certain things you almost expect to happen, right? So if somebody said, I went to McDonald's at 15th or Broad and Allegheny, and there was soda on the floor, it'd be like, well, what did you expect? Your McDonald's at 15th and Allegheny. So it is what it is. Um, we pay people to treat us poorly. That's how I feel. I want to be wrong. I felt better. Also, I think I can give the review. I'm gonna find a couple other things to show you before I go. I saw Little last night. I saw a couple movies coming out. I didn't see the Taraji movie that came out, Best of Enemies, but I heard it's like a little We Are the World. You know, like the KKK member and a black woman desegregate a school. I'm like, okay, all right. I'll eventually get to it. Maybe I'll go this weekend. I want to support it. I like Taraji, but it was just such a long day for me. I couldn't get to the screening. But last night we had a chance. I took my mom. We saw Little. She really enjoyed it, and she said she stayed awake the whole movie. And so that's already a plus. And everybody seemed to really get into it. It's a fun story. No originality, you know, but you know that's Hollywood anyway. So it's basically like Tom Hanks had a movie called Big, and then there was a movie called Devil Wears Prada, and they basically morphed those two things and flipped the script. You know, so instead of the kid growing up to be an adult and acting like a kid, and it's Tom Hanks, it's Regina Hall. Everybody's seen the trailer, I'm sure. Regina Hall is sort of like this meanie boss who acts that way because she was bullied as a kid, and then she, through black girl magic, um, role reverses into the girl from Blackish, and everybody was great. Issa Rae surprised me. I mean, Issa Rae, I've known for years. She's been on the show. Everybody's followed her whole career, her trajectory. But I think this is the first time I've seen her in a feature film in theaters, and she stole the movie, but she stole it in a way that was like the opposite, quite frankly, of what Tiffany Haddish did in Girls Trip, and I'm sure it was orchestrated that way because the very first time you see her, um, she establishes her character so strongly. Like they even like show a shot of her degree and that she's like the long-suffering assistant who's loyal to her friend. And you know, I honestly say like I ebb and flow with Will Packer movies because I think he's a genius at marketing, but sometimes they rush him through and there's no story there. Like that last one with Tiffany and Kevin Hart, they literally, I'm sure they spent like a week writing that script, the night school. That there was nothing. It was like a thimble of a plot. This was a much more developed story. All the characters were established. The actors were good, and I honestly would say I wouldn't mind if I paid to see it. You know, and you know that being said, I was also a little skeptical going in because it's almost the same formula as What Men Want, which was a remake of a 90s film. And it was the same thing. The girl gets hit on the head and then she goes into this alternate reality of herself. So it's almost the same plot as Little is almost the same plot as What Men Want. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's Tina Gordon being the director, Tina Gordon Chisholm, or maybe they have more time to develop it, or they just more talent involved in the production. It just actually kind of works as a movie. And it's been a long time since I've been able to say something like that about a movie that's in theaters with Black people. You know, we went back and forth with Nobody's Fool, Tyler Perry. You know, a lot of it is just product. You know, so it's good when you see somebody actually making an effort to entertain you as well as support. And then when Charles is back, we're gonna talk about Us. That's another movie. You know, a little rushed, but I think it gives you enough to make you feel justified being going out to get dressed to go see it. Um, I want to kiss all the Black people. Well, you know, it's I think that's a lot of our nature, and it's unfortunate. Hate You Give. Oh, Issa Rae. Well, she had like 3 scenes in Hate You Give, but yeah, you did correct me. Um, Hate You Give. That was like a stunt performance. That was almost like anybody could have played that part, and Issa Rae was there to do it. But um, when you see Little, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Like she really, whatever it is that she's developed over the last 10 years or so in terms of what her brand is, how she identifies, and what she's willing to do on film, she's got a great deal of integrity so far. So it'll be very very interesting. She's already making another movie with Will Packer. It'll be very interesting as she develops into the starring roles beyond her series. What she's what she's doing, but she finessed it. You know, she did the same. It's almost the same role as Tiffany Haddish, but with a degree. You know, like she's you know she's single and horny, but she's not. She's low key about it. It's very interesting dynamic, and I think a lot of people like it. Um, More likes than views. Oh well, people tune in and out. If I'm talking for an hour, people might have 3 minutes, and they'll say, "Oh, all right, I'll check it later or whatever." But by the end of this, it'll be like 100 or 200 people popped in, but most people don't stay as long. I'll show you Alexander last Avengers movie. Yeah, somebody asked me about that. I'm not keen on Marvel films generally. I'm like late to the party when it comes to Marvel. I do appreciate that they put so much time into making it a ride. You know, like I think my favorite. I didn't really like Black Panther as much as I like Doctor Strange because that was like trippy. I saw it in 3D, and I said, "Wow, this is really expanding people's thought processes, not just handing things to you on a plate. It's really using the technology, CGI, 3D, and good storytelling to deliver you an experience that could only be in a movie theater." So I like that about Marvel. I like Pixar for the same reason. They spent so much time developing the story, and it plays and it's universal. It has core um, mythology about it that works in a lot of cultures, and and but some of them leave me confusing. So the last Avengers, I just couldn't get into because you almost literally have to see every film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe to appreciate it, and I hadn't. Right, so I wasn't geeked out about it. I really couldn't care less. And the ending, it just, in light of what's going on today with Trump and everything, I said, well, what is this really saying? Because I always think that pop culture reflects our subconscious. So I always look on a certain level for what the deeper meaning is when movies tap into the zeitgeist, you know. So I like Thor Ragnarok a little more, but then the ending was like tripped me out. Like, you know, they said, "Well, nothing we can do to stop this curse. We're gonna just jet out of here." I was like, "What? How am I supposed to feel about life? You guys can get on a spaceship and leave. I'm stuck here on planet Earth. You know, I'm not tripped out." So I think uh, superhero movies have their place, but I don't think they help us to they distort our perception of reality to the extent where so many people buy into them that it becomes a new reality for a lot of people. And you can see that in a lot of subcultures. Sometimes it can be empowering, like when you have a bunch of rejects and they love to skateboard and then they bond around skateboarding, and you get to a point where you have people really, you know, because you're promoting a cultural identity, and it's also a healthy identity. It's good to go outside and skateboard. But when my friend was telling me they're going to build an arena just for people to play video games, I'm like, where is this world headed? Why do we need a whole arena just for people to play Nintendo? You know, and I saw a little thing when I was in Colombia. You know, people don't have access to internet the same way, so they literally had like a little cafe where everybody was like watching the same soccer games, and off to the side they were playing video games. Like I could see like a little space, but a whole arena, millions of dollars being built to promote Nintendo and people playing football, you know, video games. I don't see that as something I would, you know, want want you know, just I don't know where this world is headed. Um, Homeless and left out of planning. The brown sugar app you talk Bison, you're talking about the streaming service? I checked it out for a month. They only have like 8 movies, and I own them all. You know, I'm old, so I have everything. It's mostly the MGM 70s blaxploitation library and a couple things that are fairly available everywhere, you know. So I don't see that as, you know, I don't know. See, I think, you know, if I had a channel like that, I would want to have all the standard movies, the Pam Grier, all the 70s stuff. I'd try and have the 30s stuff. But I think what's not being mined is, if you're talking about black stuff, the television that we experience, for, you know, there's only 50, 60 years, but there's a lot of shows from the 60s and 70s, even small series like That's My Mom or Baby I'm Back, where if somebody had that, I might pay for 2 or 3 months. Or even if you had the public affairs shows in one place, you know, and there's some licensing issues involved with that. But you know, even Tony Brown we talked about earlier, if his stuff was available on a streaming platform, I think it would do well, um, better than what he's trying to do on his own. But he has his own mission, and you know, I was saying to somebody, they were trying to buy licenses. They had approached me to license some things, and I said, well, if you're going to do a black streaming service, get like, I want to see, this is me, Uptown Comedy Club, Apollo Comedy Hour, all those sort of weird syndicated shows. You know, put Graffiti Rock on, or every episode of Soul Train or something like that. Then I would pay a monthly fee. Like if a service had every episode of Soul Train, you'd have my money for a year because it would take me a year to go through them all, you know. But you know, the recycle the same stuff that's been on DVD 20 times. It's not interesting to me. Um, Recommendations. I watched the recommendations on Netflix. I watched the Kevin Hart, and I had mixed feelings about it. It was only an hour. I thought it should have been longer, so that surprised me because he's capable of doing a longer special, and I kind of wanted a theatrical experience. Um, I didn't see. I was fortunate enough. I'd seen him work out some of the material, like he was in Philly filming, and he was doing a lot of the same jokes, like undercover. Like he did like 30 minutes of Keith Robinson's show when we interviewed Keith. He made a surprise appearance, and he was kind of working out the jokes. And then he did a surprise. He did a week of surprise shows at the Punchline Philly, and I was lucky enough to get a ticket. So I'd seen him when he was working the material out, and I thought it was really funny. And I gave him a lot of credit for even making the effort, because you could kind of see him just working on the ideas, the germ of the idea, and then you could kind of see how is he going to make it more physical. But that being said, I think my criticism is the same as what a lot of people are saying in terms of what stand-up comedy is. It's not about cranking out a special every year. It's about living life and then having something to say. And I think Kevin Hart has been riding this wave where he's almost devoid of material. But what I did like about the special was that he kept it moving. Like, there were some things that he I saw him say in his workout that I thought were much funnier than the way it was delivered in the special. Like when he starts off the show saying, "Oh, I and my kids caught me having sex," right? In an earlier version of the joke, he's actually saying like, "Yeah, I couldn't get away from it because I have like a little step stool that I use to have sex with my wife," and he was acting it out like it's like being like you could really picture it more, but I guess for a bigger crowd or whatever, for whatever reason, it didn't end up in the special. Um, but when you look at Kevin Hart, you just say when he gets to the point, I don't want to spoil the whole special for people. When he gets to the gun compartment joke and he acts it out, I see the same. I see his genius. I see his ability to commit. It's the same thing that Tiffany Haddish has. It doesn't matter how outrageous the scenario, he completely buys into it and makes you believe it, and that's his gift as a storyteller. But in terms of structuring his act and different things like that, he knows what works. I'm not gonna. I can't criticize somebody who's entertaining tens of thousands of people, but I think he if that's as deep as he's willing to tap into himself to get humor, then he's got to figure it out more, if he wants that paying audience to come back. Because the hour on Netflix is basically free. He has done specials where the energy was unique enough where people wanted to see him and they were paying money to see him in the theater. Clearly, if Netflix is paying $20 million, he can make more money just giving it to them than marketing it and selling it in theaters and trying to be number one with the stand up special. But kudos to him. There's a couple other things on Netflix. I'm behind on some docs and things. I don't know if anybody else has any suggestions. I'll check them out. Well, it cost me. Well, he might. Dick Gregory cussed me out 1,000 times. Well, he, everything's good, right? I'm over it. Like how many times did your mother beat you? I hopefully you don't have any resentment. I think Dick Gregory's done more good than, and if it helped you discover him, me being cursed out, then I'm just playing my role in that. I don't I don't take ownership like I deserve you, Bison, yelling at me. Um, you don't get the cred to yell at me. Dick Gregory can yell at me anytime he wants. Um, Moved to Texas 5 years ago. I'll be in Texas in January. Um, Denton, Texas again. Um, Illinois, Rockford, Illinois. Um, yep, I'm sure Soul Train is working on something. I haven't watched the Robert Townsend thing that was on BET. I don't have cable any longer, so I don't get things instantly like the BET series. I didn't watch it. Um, I'm not going to speak against Kevin Hart. I just think anybody's making a special year and they're not really like the biggest thing they can talk about is beating kids. I mean, there's a lot of hacky material, um, and it relies on his energy. And I think it's better than the last one where he spent 30 minutes talking about a badger in his driveway. But I think he's distanced himself from his audience in the sense that his day-to-day reality is not as connected as it may have been. And he's growing himself as a person. So he doesn't want to just talk about how short he is and just playing off that trope. But um, it seems to work for him. I'm glad I didn't pay. I'll just put it that way, Kevin. But I think Kevin Hart, his talent, his genius is uh, he commits totally to his characters, and at his best when he's some of the Saturday Night Live bits that he did, I thought he was genius. Not the Kavajne, but some of it. Just the fact that he can put himself in that place very quickly and have that characteristic. But um, I give him credit for Upside. There was an attempt to give you a portrait of a strong black man, somebody who wanted to reunite with his kids. I think that was an important image to see on film. But um, I've said on the radio. I just, I wish it would slow down and really commit to not just product, but commit to his art because I think he has that within him. Um, Teaching a master class. I don't have enough social media. Bison says, "Have you thought of teaching a film master class on social media?" I have no. There's 36 people watching. I have no presence. All I can say is, um, like Friday, I'm going to be showing some of my NYU student films. I knew from almost like the age of 12 what I wanted to do in life. I've had some success, but I've never had that big catapult of huge money as incentive. So I've maintained my integrity, and if I have a body of work, it speaks exactly to my curiosity and my level of experience. And if this year, and I've talked to lots of filmmakers, and it always goes up and down. We're finally, after 12 years of doing YouTube and 15 years of promoting film in Philadelphia, the same kernel. Like, if you can imagine, the very first screening that we did in Philly was standing room only. We showed Claudine, which hadn't been seen in decades, and it was coming out on DVD. We did a free screening of that. We had almost 200 people, about 150 people came, a standing room only, and then we gave away DVD product for over an hour, and people stayed, and people really wanted to feel connected to that culture and their past and the humanity and quality. Um, while that's dying off in the physical space, the fact that we started at a certain time with YouTube, and then we were blessed to be the conduit for Dick Gregory's final messages to the world. We're in a space now where we can hit 250,000 subscribers, and I feel assured. I have enough confidence to be willing to take more risks, but I also understand our audience is it's the same people that came to that first show. It's just all over the planet. So um, I don't know what that means in terms of building a social media presence. All I can say is that it's the same story for me. From maybe not if you come out Friday, maybe you'll see a little different story because there were no black students at NYU. I had to cast white people in my films, and also black culture had to come into its own identity through hip hop. And I was very fortunate to be in New York at the time when all that was burgeoning. So I'm discovering, if you come watch these movies, you see who I am, but I'm also discovering a sense of a greater self. And then also now we're in a realm where the responsibility is back on my back. I'm not seeing what I want to see, and we have a little window of opportunity to do some things. So working as hard as I can to make sure that I get another one or two things out that are going to be impactful. If I want to reserve the right to complain, if I make something that turns out whack, then you can criticize me. But I always feel, in terms of being sensitive to other artists, I don't want to criticize them without knowing their story. And if I have strong criticism, my job is to make something that's going to trump it. That's just the hip hop attitude. It's like, is that the best that you can make? I'll wait, that Rakim, and we did have Rakim. We're gonna have Rakim footage on the channel the next week or two. I got to get it. It's been edited. I just have to get it correlated, and then we'll put it up. But meeting Rakim was great. Cast one white. I have no room for any white people, because that was the one thing I dislike about some of this bullshit that they're putting out. Like a lot of this shit. I don't know. You got me upset. Black Klansman, Little, what men want. Um, it used to be Tom Arnold would get that job, right? He'd be the buffoon for white people. But white people, they don't take it the same way. That actor's getting a paycheck, but white people don't look at Tom Arnold and say, hey, that represents all of us. So putting a dumb white character in a black movie is just giving a white guy a check. That's my overall feeling about it, because it's not the same pain as when, you know, black people go see an all white movie and the one black person in it would be Step and Fetch It or something. It's not, there's no equivalence. So Little has all these overweight white people. They're supposed to be the comic relief, and their big joke is they like to eat donuts and all this dumb shit. And it's just like, that's a check for that guy. It's like, it's a little bit better than some of the other Will Packer stuff where he was trying to diversify the cast to appease this imaginary audience. I think Screen Gems likes to do that. Like they the mantra they always say, well, we're not really making black films, we're making genre films with black casts. It's like, fuck out of here. You put the poster up, you know who's coming the first week. So I just don't think that, I don't think it cuts both ways. I don't think two wrongs make a right, and I don't see any benefit when I gotta suffer through Broad and Allegheny McDonald's, and I know ultimately those are people that need to see what I have to say. I don't want any distraction from that. I want a genuine experience. You don't, maybe if you listen to James Brown, there was a period in James Brown's career where he had an all white band. Um, a few records where he had this white bass player, and you couldn't tell because it's still James Brown. But the same way, um, when you listen to a Kool and the Gang record, you don't question if they had white people playing piano. You know, if I'm setting out to make a movie that speaks to black people, I don't really. To me, that's a big compromise to put white people. I mean, that's the same level of to me personally, and this might get me in trouble there. That's the same level of compromise where you say, I'm gonna make a black Spider-Man movie, but they're gonna be Dominican, but the father's gonna be black. And then when Miles Morales discovers his superpower, now everybody in the whole universe discovers that they can be Spider-Man too. So you got manga Spider-Man and Daffy Duck, Porky Pig Spider-Man. It's like, why can't we just have one thing for ourselves that we can take pride in? That's all I want to represent. Just can even if it's just a half hour, can we get something where we can be immersed in it? And I mean, that was the genius of Get Out. It was like that movie made a ton of money, and it was just for 90 minutes. If you liked horror movies and this was a good one, you had to accept the fact that you're not going to see any white people that were good for an hour and a half. And a few of them might get killed, but you're going to root for the black guy, right? So that's a genius move of the century so far to me, is convincing a whole galaxy of white people that they can root for a black man and feel good about it at the end and not feel like there's any need for retribution. OJ didn't even get away with that shit, but Jordan Peele is making billions off of it. So I love that part, but there's a lot more work to do. Superfly, oh, I got mad at Superfly. Shaft's about to come out now, so. And I love Sam Jackson, but I don't know. So, greed. Why make a comedy Superfly? It's so stupid. Um, I'm happy right now. I got my posters. No real pressure on me. Just um, just doing everything. Look, I don't know if it's gonna work. I might have a stroke tomorrow, but I'm working hard to make sure. Oh, you hope it works. The Shaft movie. I thought you were talking about my big goal to make a better product for you. I think it's just, to me, it's inherent of the insensitivity that um, capitalism. I'll just say capitalism has towards black culture. There's no reverence. I mean, as you go back to the Paul Mooney interview, one of the first things we did, he said, black on black crime is okay. So I just aren't enough people in Hollywood to veto the idea of making a Shaft as a comedy. And then when the movies don't come out well, which is another thing, they don't put enough money or time into them, then it's done. We're one and done. We're not going to get any more. So that that's a problem when it's not a problem if you're creating new stars and you're creating new franchises. Like, um, so again, I'll give Little the credit today for that because it's like somewhat original idea, but the movie it's making new stars. It's not recycling a bunch of old shit that we've seen before and trying to resell it to us. So I give them credit for that. But with a Shaft remake, I just say, where's the opposite? Where is there a white mainstream movie that reinvents? And you could argue 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, but um, I don't think that that property has the same level of reverence that Shaft or Superfly has for a portion of Black Americans. And you could also argue that those well, so many people didn't even grow up or identify with the '70s. It could almost be its own new thing. I like the fact that they brought Richard Roundtree back, but I just think um, I don't buy heavily into it, but I see the pattern. um, Black masculinity seems to be frowned upon in our culture. It's very difficult to stand up as a Black man, and and I don't need to be the only one saying it. If you listen to Ta-Nehisi Coates, if you just watch fucking Twitter, you see that it's an endangered species attitude. And when we put things into our culture that separate us in terms of what we can do together, what we can do Black male female relationships, um, and that's not to take anything away from anybody's sexuality, but from my own personal experience, if you say dysfunction, it's because I do know my mom, but I don't know my dad. I met my dad twice in my whole life, right? So in the back of my head, I'm always trying to, and I see that a lot. I know a lot of people, you know, who parents are in jail or never knew their fathers, so it's something in my art I want to try and do to correct it. So when I see the Shaft thing and this guy's supposed to be metrosexual love child of Shaft and they're going to try and correct him somehow, I'm like, why does he need correcting? Why can't we just come into the story? And the same thing with What Men Want. I mean, there's no story there for me. Like the minute she got disrespected by her white bosses, she should have got up and quit. It should have been Black Jerry Maguire, not Black fucking was it Mel Gibson? She should have up and left, and it should have been Jerry Maguire from day one if I was going to tell that story. So I just think that the from my perspective, it just seems like a lot of the culture, that content that's being created is not empowering us, and it's doing more to divide us and make us feel like we have to point fingers in the wrong places. So that being said, it's an hour. Shout out Cardi B has her own rap snack, and I kind of like rap snacks. I'm gonna try them. I don't know what a cheddar barbecue is. But it's a check for Cardi B. Apparently, I don't know. When I was away, she got into trouble. I hope she's not in too much trouble, but diabetes, high blood pressure. But it's Cardi B, so I eat a lot of junk food. They're good. I mean, the thing, wrap snacks, all of them are like super sweet. I mean, hers, honey barbecue. I don't know if they test market to like black kids in the hood, these potato chips, but they're just super sweet. Like everything that would be addictive for you, and it tastes a little bit of the cheese. That if I had all the time in the world, I would find out who their food scientist is and what they go for. But um, I'll hold it up more. This ephemeral. Like I don't know who's gonna save a bag unopened of wrap snacks, so it's good to have the photo. Um, yeah, chumpy chips and hoodies and homegirl chips. So, oh, Philly food. Um, now that was a joke. Diabetes. Obviously, if you eat too much of anything, you're gonna get sick. Um, I love Hollywood Shuffle. Oh, you don't even want it's milligrams of sodium. Oh my god. Oh, there's a quote. Is that Cardi on the back? There's a quote. Like you're supposed to be empowered while you eat this shit. She's wearing a dress. From strip club to potato chip queen, being successful in life and in the music business is all about being true to who you are, knowing your self worth, never sweating the small things, and always following your gut instincts. If you follow this rule of thumb, it will eventually create a recipe for success. But if you eat 3 bags of these, it's 150 calories per serving. And 1 bag. Oh wait, this bag is 3 servings, right? So that's how they always fuck you up to begin with, right? So they say, oh, who's gonna eat 13 chips exactly? So 3 servings in this 1 bag, 150 calories. So that's um, 450 calories in the bag, and then, or it actually tells you per container. I don't have to do the math. So in the bag, 40%, 24 grams of saturated fat. That's standard potato chip. Cholesterol 0. I guess they use cottonseed oil, cottonseed, soybean, and sunflower oil. Uh, Sodium 680 milligrams in the bag, 30% of your daily requirement. So you don't want to eat 3 bags of this if you trust the government. That's the first thing. Like, if you watch any of these Netflix documentaries, all of the daily requirements were negotiated by the food lobbyists. So in reality, we probably should all be eating like 3 beans and like a spoonful of rice a day. But they want to tell you, in the food pyramid, this is 1 bag is 30% of your salt. Blunt flavored. Oh, that's so wrong. That's not right. I can't. Now I feel guilty about my whole community supporting anything. All right, I'm gonna get off. eBay fine. I put the photo from this on. Um, Hold it straight. Gotta clean my hand. I got Cardi B potato chip oil on my vintage 50-year-old magazine. James Brown on the cover of Look, and I wanted to get this. I wanted to get this and read it for myself. February 18th, 1969. So I'm gonna go with this. So I want to get that. There are copies on eBay. That one smells a little mildewy. But they did that. Like 68 was when Martin Luther King was killed. April 68. January 69, after he literally, they televised his concert, and Boston was one of the few cities where there were no riots. He put out Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud subsequently, and made a strong effort to unite his community in light of the civil rights actions being taken against us, the murders, Bobby Kennedy, and Martin Luther King. So they put him on the cover, and in the Mr. Dynamite documentary, I believe, or maybe it's the James Brown biography. I'm not sure. Did I put the James Brown biography on the channel? I should. Um, he said that that cover is what made him a marked man. Like he said, you know, sort of like the scene from Malcolm X where they go down to protest the beating of one of their members, and Malcolm organizes all the people to stand silently across the police station, and then they said we want him out of here, and then he just makes like one little move, and they all kind of go away. That was and then the film to say, well, wow, you know, that guy has too much power. Anybody who has enough power to stop a riot can organize one. I think you know that this cover Sharpton says was sort of like the thing that made James Brown a target for like the tax man and the CIA and all these people. They said anybody who has the power to stop the burning of a city has too much power as far as the United States is concerned. So I wanted to read that article. I still have to check it out. But 34 views. Well, you know, we're undercover. It's called undercover. Um, I did not buy any. What are you suggesting, Alex? I did not buy these views. You have to understand the subscribers. We've been in operation for 12 years. So I would say maybe a third of the people don't even check out YouTube anymore, but it's still numbers. It still counts. Shows how much impact we've had over time. So you should consider yourself lucky. In a year, I might be charging for this, but I appreciate you. And I appreciate what I don't want to say anything wrong, but haters are good. Um, you know, so there's always going to be somebody. Don't question my authority. Come on, Alexander. We're trying to talk. We're trying to preach love, and you're gonna come in here. Only 34 people. There's something wrong. You know, let me get my calculator out. Look, I can't explain it. I just know look. If you want to trust their numbers, I trust the math that comes in once a month, and I appreciate you for that because it allows us to grow more. But you know, sure, I trust. I have to take in good faith that the numbers are correct. I certainly feel like I've earned them and worked for them, and certainly the number that comes in at the end of the month, that's the one that's most important. It helps me and Charles continue to take a little stress off and give you information that we've cultivated and gleaned from years, and certainly your viewership. I wouldn't have this sitting here if not for you. So I'm appreciative of everything, but don't be a hater. See, I already went to 42, so you got to shut up now, huh? No, I gotta quiet the haters. You're the one that spoke up. You're the one that spoke. You stepped up. You're trying to calculate. I told you by the end of when we shut this down, it's gonna be 200-300 people tuned in. And look, not everything's for everybody, right? So it is what it is. I would honestly hate. It would stress me to fuck out if 250 people were watching me say what I'm saying right now. I'd have to really be a lot more careful because it'd be a lot more. You know, people. I can't be as free when I have that much attention on me. Yeah, no, I'm just ventilating. Uh, no, our numbers are traditionally low. We have the majority of people they subscribe because of Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory is not making new videos, but what's been good is enough people watch and continue to watch that we can extend and grow the channel to in the spirit of what Dick Gregory is talking about, which is like know who you are, empower yourself, take pride in your accomplishment. I mean, and maybe we should be talking more about health and food. Maybe I shouldn't be on here promoting rap snacks because it is suicide and it's something there's a lot of ignorance behind it, you know, but and it does frustrate me that we're primarily entertainment based, like, you know, but I think what I reconcile that is that's our cultural consciousness, and the more people that we can get together on positive things, good memories, great experiences, reminding people of what good art is and what we've accomplished in terms of empowering ourselves through that recognition, then that I'm good with that. But I don't have time. I don't have time for bullshit, Alexander. Talking about my numbers. I don't check your pockets. Um, just I love everybody. That's all I can say. Well, I'm gonna live by Cardi B, new end crowd. I'll repeat this and then I'll let everybody go. I appreciate you checking in. It's literally was I think 10 days since I did this last. I want to do more of it, but I had to come back to sea level, just reorient myself not only with the goals that I have and the vision that I see, but just getting on the same page with everybody else so we can truly manifest it. So it's a good place. I expect to travel more. So you'll get more tourism, and I may put some videos up from Colombia if I can get them off my phone. I got to figure out how to um, airdrop them so that they compress. But at Real Black, contact info at Real Black, and just follow on Twitter and DM. Um, Instagram. I mean, I'm so far behind on email; it's not even worth me handing out. Um, the social media is low enough where I see every DM, and like I said, I'll retweet. Um, being successful in life. Now Cardi B don't sound like I do, but you find your best Cardi B voice, get a bag of chips. Being successful in life and in the music business is all about being true to who you are, knowing your self worth, never sweating the small things, and always following your gut instincts. If you follow this rule of thumb, it will eventually create a recipe for success. So I guess that'll be in Cardi B's. So Alex Haley wrote the autobiography of Malcolm X. Who out there is going to write the autobiography of Cardi B so that more people can see the light, more millennials can empower themselves. Autobiography of Cardi B. If I was Cardi B, I'd be working on that shit. I'm sure some. Brr, oh, there's a good Cardi B joke in Little. I'll give thumbs up on Little. Um, Crr, crr, crr. Am I doing it right? Um, books to read. I bought a lot of books when I was in LA, but I haven't read them yet. I'm behind on shit. One more thing here. Oh, this book I got. I wanted to save it. I saw this at the bookstore. I was in LA, in the Valley. Oh, I hid money for myself. That's always good. Um, Good luck. What's wrong with the movies? Nice to find some money. It's from 1923. It's before they even had sound in movies. I'm probably like, there's probably a whole chapter. We can't hear nothing. So 1923. That's the kind of shit I like. But and then Woods gave this to me when we were going through a storage. So that's this is his wet copy, but I didn't never knew this book existed. So I got to read it. And then this I highly recommend. The Bold Ones, The Protectors. Shout Factory was having a sale. But Harry Rhodes is the co-star. He's running for senator or district attorney, something else. But Harry Rhodes is the district attorney, and Leslie Nielsen is the cop. But I can't get away with putting this on the channel. It's still out there for sale. But Shout Factory did a great job. It's not the cleanest copy. I don't know how they get the rights. Like I think their Timeless Media is owned by Shout Factory now. And what they do, they find prints the movies, and then they don't have to pay Universal to access from their vault, and they can keep the price down. But the pilot movie on this is excellent. It was from 1969, and Harry Rhodes is running for DA, and the guest cast is amazing. It's Max Julian from the Mac has a small part. Ruby Dee um, plays a mom, in the projects, and um, the woman that was in Ava's movie. Uh, Beverly Todd is in there as a school teacher, and I was really impressed. I mean, this is the kind of thing like I said, if I had a channel, I would be mining old TV series from the '60s, '70s, and '80s, and putting them on there because that kind of stuff is unique. Goodbye Uncle Tom, one of my favorite movies is Goodbye Uncle Tom. It's probably closer to what slavery really was about than what Roots is. It's an exploitation film, but at the same time, it viscerally exposes you to the vulgarity, treating human beings as cattle and meat. And the box set, I have box sets over there. If you can get the DVD with the making of on it, it's really interesting because if you know, and Goodbye Uncle Tom is on YouTube, but if you see it, you see all these black people being herded and stuff, and it's like through these different things where they're cleaning them and stuff, and it's very vulgar. And on first watch, like, how do you even get black people? How do you even get actors? Coming from the Hollywood Shuffle thing, how do you even get people to even want to portray themselves like that on film? And then you see the documentary, the making of it's because they shot in Haiti, and the extras were supplied by Papa Doc Duvalier. As part of the Tantam Coots. So essentially, these people were almost enslaved themselves. It was sort of like, if you don't show up and be in these people's movie, it'll be worse for you. So it's the kind of movie that it's a rarity. It's a one of a kind. It can only exist because of those unique circumstances. And but I think it gives you a glimpse into how people really were debased. And the one we have on the channel, Heritage of Slavery, also speaks to the truth of how what slavery was. And you're talking to people that they were kids when they had slaves, and they literally looked at our ancestors as deficient in some way, or um, pets, almost like unable to care for ourselves. And then the horror of it, if you look at like a Ken Burns documentary, when slavery ended, Civil War, they literally left us to starve, left us people in the woods eating grass and dirt, left to fend for ourselves because slavery suddenly was over, and we're suddenly free. And then the flash forward 150 years, we're still in some ways asking, what does freedom mean? But the fact that so many of us not only survived and thrived, but created and helped sustain this culture, why we don't always see it, why we still have the sense we must feel diminished. That's the biggest mind fuck of them all. That's where I wish I had a copyright on racism, because I'd be getting paid all the time. I wouldn't have to worry about a damn thing. And whoever has a copyright on racism, it's so ingrained and encoded into everybody. It's not even funny. But we have to fight that every day. So I do what I can, just to, I can't show this, but I'll show it real quick. Um, this was another eBay Players, but it's got an interview with Tim Reed. Um, So I want to read that. So that's my reading, and then got to get the office together. There's a whole nother room, and I got to get it organized so I can bring help in. I did not watch the Tales in the Hood sequel. I like Rusty too much to subject myself, but I did buy the DVD. I just got a feeling I need to take my time on that one. But I'm a big Rusty Cundia fan. He's early supporter of mine, and I love everything he does. He's super brilliant. And if you listen to our interview with Rusty Cundia from the radio show, you have a lot of respect for him, and he's been behind the scenes on a lot of the biggest moments in black comedy. He was one of the original directors on the Chappelle Show. He's responsible for directing the black white supremacist sketch, and Fear of a Black Hat is genius. And I think it's unfortunate that his career didn't blossom when it should have. But I was so happy to see that they did the sequel. Um, and it is what it is. Um, Tales from the Hood. All right, I'll check it out. I mean, I've been reluctant because, Netflix, it just conditions you just to switch things off after 10 minutes. So my attention span has been ruined. But I'll give it a play. Um, all right. So any final thoughts? We did the brr, brr. I ate my Cardi B. Showed you some stuff. I don't know what else is back here. Transferred this. I don't know when it's going to get on. But Gabe Kaplan, my childhood, and then I'm waiting for questions. That's all. Um, that's not. That's nothing. This is from Charles. Charles gave this to me. This was an extra copy. Something I didn't have before. Charles didn't jump in. So it's the history of the Black Panthers tied into the movie Panther. The story behind the film. It's got some color pages too. So it's the kind of, and we're gonna do a screening of Panther in June or July. I have to check my schedule. Panther is noticeably out of print on video. It was on DVD for a split second, and then it went out of print. So we're gonna do a double feature at the Rotunda in Philadelphia of Panther and The Walking Dead with Eddie Griffin, which is another film from the same company. Actually, same company that put out Tales from the Hood, Savoy Pictures. They went defunct, and Polygram picked them up, but they never, for whatever reason, Walking Dead never made it to DVD, and Panther to this day is out of print. So we're going to do a double feature screening in June or July. Walking Dead, I need to see it again. I have the laser disc from Charles, so I wanted to share it. But Panther sucked. Well, Bobby Brown's in Panther. Chris Rock's in Panther. I don't know what you expected. You have to what Columbia. I wanted to be a life-changing experience. I want to go back. I mean, the first thing is just America lies to us, and if you have to take risks, but it really almost the same money to go to Columbia as it is to go to Miami, Florida. Might even be cheaper because the hotels. I was in a 5-star hotel, $100 a night. So, when I get my Spanish together, I'm more comfortable. I might do an Airbnb and be able to stay longer. But as far as running a YouTube channel and having a workflow, I think it benefits me not to be too much in the chatter. So that's my takeaway from Colombia, and just really loving people, good weather, less barriers, and mainly your dollar goes further, so you don't feel as trapped. But you kind of have to be prepared for emergencies. Luckily I have friends, but I fuck money up I fucked so much money up in Colombia. It's not even funny. So, but fortunately, I had friends I could call, and I was very resourceful. Um, I should have had a camera crew with me. With so much crazy shit going on, but um, but yeah, I love everybody. I love. Um, well, you brainwashed. I mean, Colombia. I'm thinking like you see Colombia, you look on a map. Years of social studies. You see South America on a map. You don't even realize they got it better than you do. City's bigger than Manhattan. They said Bogota is 9 times the size of Manhattan. It's cleaner in certain parts than the United States. I mean, now they do have their slums, but I didn't. I never. The whole time I was in the main parts of the city, I never even saw chewing gum on the streets. It's literally, you'll see people lifting carts for recyclables at night. There are people with masks on, literally sweeping by hand the streets. There's a real strong effort, not only to keep people employed, but to keep the city clean. And just if you trust America and media, you think everybody's gonna be poverty stricken and life's gonna be fucked up and everything, and it's just a very cosmopolitan city. And if they keep their politics together, I think there's gonna be a lot of businesses utilizing their economy and their resources. Because like I said, yeah, I don't need to be. I could be anywhere and be live streaming this. Uh, so whatever. If and when more money, when we get to 1 million subscribers, I expect that I'll be traveling a lot of places, not only to deliver content, but just to experience more, so I can shape my art better. Um, I didn't get to Cartagena. I was only in Medellin and Bogota. But I want to go back before the end of the year. But also, I want to grow the business more. So and deal with taxes. We got tax day coming up. But God willing, numbers stay where they are. Uh, Charles will have his documentary done by this time next year, and I want to get the Dick Gregory videos out for purchase, like on DVD and Blu-ray, and then eventually acquire some films to distribute properly. Restore them and make extra features for some of the films that might be considered lost. So, um, yeah, and like I said, everybody in my zip code here is like 60 years old, is missing a toe. So it's in my best interest to make enough money that I can retire elsewhere, be out of the zip code. So, from it's either going to be Africa or Colombia. I think in 10 years, wherever the dollar is strongest and I feel most comfortable. But I think um, just eating the food here is enough to kill anybody. It's not but I'm trying to escape the mentality that I deserve this. That we all deserve not to make it into our 80s and 90s. Taxes. Well, look, you do what you can. Student loans and taxes is just stuff we all have to deal with. Um, I Am Legend. It was the CGI wasn't at the level it needed to be for it to really work, but I think I Am Legend. There's Herman Carter saying he didn't like I Am Legend. I think Charles has a stronger feeling about I Am Legend. He also has a whole thing about Book of Eli. I think those are strong attempts to have black male-centered sci-fi roles. I Am Legend, if the CGI had been better, it would have been a better film. But it's actually the third remake of the same story. Matheson did it in the 50s. I think it was a Twilight Zone story or something, based on the book I Am Legend, and then it was remade as Omega Man, which I really like. Omega Man with Charlton Heston and Sister Girl. Help me, somebody. Omega Man. Rosalind Cash. I think it's a great film. Last Man on Earth movies. I tend to like. So, but yeah, the CGI was corny, and the last 10 minutes it just went. It was a little too much. Thank you, Robert. Um, but we need more black everything. I mean, proportionately, I think it's great. 2019, we're seeing more. We're seeing more diverse. Um, we're still in a capitalistic society, so everything that we get to see is designed to make money, and there's always a level of compromise where it doesn't really enrich the people that are being depicted in the film. Probably get the least out of the film, so um and seeing us in Colombia in Spanish makes me realize that there's a global audience now for these images, and that the mindset should be how can we make things with as little compromise as possible. It's a collaborative art, but um I hope the audience doesn't really know what's available, and nobody really knows um anything, right? So I like when companies give a certain amount of respect to the creators to just make something, and then they it reaches his audience. So I think that's a learning that I get from Black Panther, and that's a learning I get when I see Us succeed and Get Out succeed, is that if you come, nobody everybody's seen so much that when you come with something original and it has a certain level of truth, there will be an audience for it. um but you have to be respectful of the core audience. If you're going to depict people or a certain culture, you have to make sure that you deliver for them first. And then if other people want to join, like I said, white people don't listen to Kool and the Gang and expect that the fucking piano player is white. So why would they insist on that when there's a movie being made that's depicting our culture, reflective of who we are or what we stand for? So, um, that may be a very difficult standard to maintain and be collaborative and feel like you're working with the best. But I think um, if you look at it from the other side of the mirror, the other side of the coin, it never comes into question. It's automatically assumed unless you challenge. So I think that's that's why I need strength. Give me strength. Um, say no to Tom Morrow. Um, Westerns, anything. We just need to expand our imagination. We're Black folks are being lapped in the society. We'll sell out in a heartbeat. So if you can imagine more, you can be more, you can create more. But um, westerns, it can be done. Django was a western. So why more people don't see the reverence in that type of storytelling, or want to imagine Black people in the past in that respect? That's a question that I would ask. But um, in terms of commercial, um, it's just you're working against budgets and time and who's available. And the pragmatic thing is, we're still, despite even the greatest success in the last 5 or 6 years with Black people, has been either underestimated or under finance. It's you don't even hear. I'll put it this way: you don't even hear about Black movies losing money. You never hear that because they don't spend enough money. It's always a safe bet. Even Straight Outta Compton, it was a fight to get $10 extra million to make that thing, and made over $100 million. So you don't even hear. Movies might underperform, but you never hear somebody went broke because they made a Black film. But you hear that all the time with these white mainstream movies. Oh, we spent $200 million and only made 75 million back. That never happens with a Black movie because At best, you're getting 30, $40 million might be the top budget for anything that's considered black cast. I mean, well, clearly Black Panther and Wrinkle in Time got more, but in general, Hollywood is very risk averse when it comes to that. And most of the time, TV contracts and all that stuff make up the difference in whatever a movie doesn't make in theaters. So, um, I think we have to look at the strength that we have in that sense. Um, well, I don't. Well, when was a western really successful? You get one every 10 years nowadays. I mean, back in Charles, if he was on here, you give you like in the '50s. That's all you got was westerns. It was the cheap product that could be made. People they knew kids loved them and all that kind of stuff. I think as we go more into the realm of video games and stuff, it's harder to convince a young urban kid or people that pay money initially to see a movie that westerns are the things to do. Now that being said, Highwayman, well, that's the '30s. That's not a western. It's a '30s prohibition movie. So there are spaces where you can get away with it, but you have to do it the right way. And I think they're still considered period pieces. So um, that means it's going to cost more money than renting a dope house for a week and shooting us. Like a lot of these horror movies, the formula is you use one location and you shoot them in 2 weeks. So I don't know. You have stunts involved, generally more action, and then you also have to capture the imagination of the public. So, Tarantino can get it done, but you have to say, in this world where there's all kinds of content available at all times, what's the hook? So either you have to have a very strong actor like a Denzel when he did the Magnificent Seven, or you really have to have um, a sizable budget to pull it off. So I think those are variables, but I think your initial thing is it's a lane that hasn't been exploited in a long time. So maybe westerns are the next thing. I don't know. Um, was Buck and the Preacher a success? I have to go to Charles. You might have liked it. I don't know. It was a big hit. You might have liked the movie, but that shit didn't make any money, man. All right, talking every. I'll see you. I'm out of here too. Um, Nothing new under the sun. JDW. All right. Um, I've got to get back to work. It's almost 5 here. I appreciate the time. It has been a while. I didn't expect to talk as long, but I guess there's a lot on my head. Um, so if you're in Philly Friday, we're showing my student films from NYU. I'll be there. If people say, "Where can I see you?" or whatever, I'll definitely be there. And then at Real Black on Twitter, Instagram, and I'll go through if you put your handle here in the chat, I'll go back and I'll follow you today. All right, thanks so much. I'm losing my voice too. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and it's good to be back. And let's knock it out of the box. Peace and blessings. Peace.